the lab.
So these are what we call cells. We grow them in a flask like this, and they usually...
Today, I'm going to share with you what I actually do in the lab as a cancer researcher. So before we start, we first need to make sure we are protecting ourselves as well as the cells. So first you need to make sure you're wearing a lab gloves, and you need to make sure you're wearing properly attired in a lab coat. So to start, we have this machine here, which is called an incubator. So basically, this is where the cells actually live. So they are kept in this kind of plastic containers. So we are going to take a closer look in how they look. So as discussed in the slide, these are cells. So cells are basically kept in this kind of flask, and then the red solution on top of it is basically the food that we give to the cells so that they can grow and they will be happy and healthy, because cells get hungry too, just like us. But you are not able to see the individual cells. But look what happens when we bring this and show them under the microscope. So this is a microscope, and then if we put it and the cells over here, and then we zoom or we increase or make them bigger, and then you will be able to actually see the cell. What you see here, these are called cells, and as you can see, they are very tiny. So our body is actually made up of multiple of these, and they form our eye, our nose, our hands, our feet, our heart, and everything we have. So when they become unhappy, so that's when we fall sick, and then we need to take medicine to feel better. So because of that, we actually need to give them fresh food so that they actually will feel happy and they can grow, that we can use for our experiments. So we will actually put them into this, we call this a hood or a system. And what we have in the red bottle, it's actually the food for the cells. So we will give that to the cells, and so that we can actually have them grow bigger and have more of them for our work. And once we have given the food in here, and then we will actually bring them to this and then place them in there. So this is the machine where they actually feel the most happiest to stay, and they will be healthy and they will be alive once we put them inside here. Okay, for my work, I actually put the cells that I have into a tube like this, and then I actually color them red, and then we will see later why I need to have them in a red color. Now, before we do that, we actually will go and get the cells to the bottom of this tube. Over here, we have another machine. So when you put these cells in the tube inside of this machine, and what's going to happen is they are going cells in this machine. What it does is it basically spins the sample, like goes in circles. So if you have played in a merry-go-round, so that's what actually happens. The cells are going to be circling like that. We have now taken the tube from the machine after spinning around, and if you can see at the bottom here, so can you see that's a very small white color part? So those are the cells. So these cells are now actually colored, and we are now going to bring this and put them in the fish, because that's how we do our work. So we now go to the other room where we will work. Okay, so once we have the cells prepared and colored red like this, we take them and we actually add them to the fish that are shown over here. So you would have seen the zebrafish larvae or the babies as before. So what we use is we use a needle like this, and then we add the cells into them. So what happens when we do this or inject it? With the cells, what we do is we use this microscope and we actually shine a white light. And if you shine a white light over here, what you can see is you can see the baby. So that's the eye. We have the heart over here, and these are the colored cells, which I colored them red. and you can see them over here. But look what happens when I shine a green color light instead. So when I have the fish in, this is what we can see. So we are going to now in my work see this red color, whether it grows big or if it grows small when I give them medicine. So after giving medicine for 3 days, you can actually see the fish or the baby fish has actually grown bigger, and you can see that the cells are no longer here, but they have actually moved. And if we look under the green light, what you see is actually the big red amount of cells is no longer there, and we have only small red dots. So this actually means that the medicine we gave them is actually working, and the fish is now happier. So this is basically what we do. We try to see how different medicine works so that the fish will feel better. I hope you enjoyed following me and being a researcher for a day. Bye.
Thank you very much, Haswani. So I really like that. Now, before going to our last speaker, it's time for a Kahoot question again, okay? So everybody ready that I'm going to the next Kahoot question? Okay, there we go. Get ready. The cancer medicine works in zebrafish if the tumor gets bigger, if the tumor gets smaller, if the zebrafish smile, or if the tumor stays the same. Come on. Bueno, this is getting very interesting. Let's see what's happening here. Ooh, things are moving around. Okay, so now let's go quickly to the next speaker and be very paying attention, because then there is one last question at the end of her presentation that will decide what happens here. So I introduce now to Laura. Laura, this is all yours.
Thank you, Yolanda. Hi, guys. I'm Laura, and I'm happy to hear today. Good morning, guten Tag, buen dia. I am originally from Argentina, but I decided to come to Germany to do research, and today I'm working in the University of Göttingen. I just have a short presentation for you. So I'm working on trying to cure cardiovascular diseases, and this is when the heart is getting sick, because many people are getting sick and dying around the world of this disease, amount 18 million of people every year. I'm sure you have in a family someone suffering from cardiac or heart disease. Maybe you wave your hands if you have heard about that before. Some grandpa or parents, have you heard that before? Wave your hands if you have heard about heart disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Next one, please. So, first of all, you had to know, before we know how to cure the heart, how the heart works. And I think this is very important for you. So the heart is the engine of the car. And I'm sure you feel your heart. You can feel it. And this is in close contact with the lungs, because they are working together. And I'll show you how. The heart is formed, as you can see here, of blood vessels and cavity. And it works like a pump. The pump of your bike, but you are not pumping air, you are pumping blood. And you have heard before about this blood vessel. So the heart is formed, next please, with four cavity. These cavity are called, cavity are called right and left atrium, right and left ventricle, and they are pumping blood. And they are connected with doors. And these doors, as you can see here, this white stuff, are called valves. They allow the blood to go in one direction, and after the blood goes, it closes, so that there is only one direction of blood flowing into your heart. So next picture is showing how these little blood cells are traveling from the heart to your body. So these little blood cells you see there, they are pale. They need a little bit of oxygen. So they travel to the ventricle, to the right ventricle. Then they will travel to the lung, And in the lungs, they will find the nutrient and the oxygen that they need to transport to the body. They will come back to the heart through another valve, and you see they are red, they are full of energy. Then we'll go to the next ventricle, and then we'll leave the heart to go to the whole body through the so-called aorta. And through this, they will bring to every cell in your body nutrients and oxygen, and without this, you cannot live. So it is a very important organ. So, and because it's so important, it's a big muscle. You have to imagine that it's a muscle that is pumping all the time. And that's why it has a specific blood vessels providing oxygen to the heart, which are the coronary arteries. And what do? They provide the oxygen and the nutrients to the cells of the heart, which are receiving this. Next one, please. They are receiving this and they are living with this. And they can work. They can work like they are to pump the blood. So what happens is that this heart is full of energy, but sometimes we forget and to do sport, and we eat unhealthy, especially when we are getting older. And what happens is that fat cells are accumulating into your blood vessels, and they are stopping the blood to go. This fat cell can also, next one, can also get inflamed. You have heard about inflammation, and this is with this cysteinyl leukotrienes mediated inflammation can block the flow of the blood. And what happens is that the cells cannot live anymore. They die because they don't have oxygen. And this is so-called heart attack. And this is what we want to prevent. So what we do in the lab, we had to go and find a model. The girls have used the zebrafish because they are similar eyes, they are similar to the human eyes. But the zebrafish has only 2 chambers in the heart. That's why we use the mice, because they have a 4 chamber. And how we do that? We need to do a hard work in the lab. And this is done with these animals. And as you can see, they are living very happily in the lab. And we take the heart and look under the microscope. So what happens is with this whole hard work, what we do, and if we see in the next slide, we have the patient samples or the patient information. We go to the lab, we investigate, we come back to the lab and do our animals, they will get sick. And by getting sick, we can use the medicines that Justin have told you before that can cure the heart and make them happy to test in a patient. But not only that, we can also take a little bit of your skin and go to the lab and make cardiomyocytes on the lab, which is, yeah, you can see in this video. They are human cardiomyocytes that have been done in the lab, which has a skin cell of your body. And we can study the medicines in your own cells. All of this will help to improve medicines, helping people which are dying from heart diseases. I hope you could enjoy it. And if you would like, you can visit me in the 4th floor of the University Medical of Göttingen. Thank you very much.
Laura, this was amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now you see that we have come to the end of our presentation. But first, we have our last Kahoot question that will really decide who has been like the classroom that has been paying more attention in this. So ready for the last question of Kahoot? Everyone ready? There we go. I am going to... How many chambers does the human heart have? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Wow, that was very quick. Now we are going to see here how has been the final classification of the... Let's see. Number 1. And the very top one. Ta-ta-tan, ta-ta-tan. Wow! Well done, everyone. Well done, everyone. It was all of you have been brilliant.